And here's a concept that I try to teach some of the therapists I work with, and certainly my clients. We have to understand something about the spine when we bend, okay? When a human begins to bend, whether it's through the hips, the knees, or just to go to bend over to pick up a box, the lumbar spine instinctively flexes. Can we all agree to that? There's a rare person, unless they've got a wicked lordosis, just a rare person that when you ask them to bend over, sticks their butt out, keeps themselves in a perfectly good core position, right? That's why they come to see us, because they don't do that in their whole life. When we have our center of gravity or weight over our head, what does gravity want to do to our lumbar spine? Anyone? Arch, yeah, extend. Right. So we have to understand that depending on what point in a motion we're at, what muscles we need to have someone focus on to help keep their core stable. So as soon as someone bends over, am I telling them to tighten their stomach? Anyone? Would I say, okay, now really engage those abs? When they're going to maybe to pick up a deadlift or pick up a box, or they're in a bent position? Anyone? No. I need them to focus on the back, the glutes. Because what gravity is trying to do, as soon as we apply pressure to the floor with our feet, now here we are, bent over, and we're trying to maintain a neutral spine when we go to push down on the floor to stand up at that object that's hanging off of our upper spine, the glutes, when they fire, want to do what to the spine? They want to flex the spine or round it. As soon as we go to push against whatever we're holding on to over here. So what muscle do we need to counteract that to keep the spine in our neutral position? Erector spine, right? For the most part. Yeah. So when I'm here, now what if I tell them to engage their abdominals? Do I want them to flex more? And even if I say isometrically or just tense them, I have never once, in teaching an Olympic lift, asked someone to tighten their abs when they go to move the weight off the floor. Not once. No coach has ever told me to do that, and I've been doing this for a long time. Your abs, which, you know, it depends on what you read. I don't believe that this whole, intra-abdominal pressure thing helps protect the thing. The interesting thing when you see something is when you engage your lumbar spine, it actually pulls on your tensor-fascial lateral. And the other thing is, especially with Olympic weightlifting, when we're in this position, taking the weight off the floor, one of the things that we work on is tucking the bar in. So that engages our lats. When our lats are engaged, we're really engaging our corset, our thoracolumbar fascia. If you look at some of the slips that come from the latissimus dorsi, it engages that. So one of the things that I have people do when they're picking is engage their lats, because that helps give you a better corset. And certainly I tell them to engage their lumbar spine. And think about that, especially as they begin to press on the floor. So when I ask someone to move the weight, any weight, off the floor, you never want to see them jerk it off the floor. I ask them to squeeze it off the floor. Whether to pick up a box, whether it's Betty picking up whatever she's got to pick up, or a golf ball, or whoever. We want to squeeze. And in the Olympic weightlifting, the same thing. The first pull, which is taking the weight from here to here, is just that. We're just overcoming the momentum of the weight of the bar. So we're squeezing and building. When we get to the second pull, which is when the bar is over our knee, so from here until we get up into our triple extension position, this is the position. This is where we want to unleash the beast. Okay, because it's from here to here is where our power band is. So we better have our backs in a real good position when we go to really use our glutes, quads, and hamstrings, all three of them, to really generate the power to get up into the third or triple extension position, which is up on our toes in a full shrug. So when you see at the top of an Olympic lift, whether it's a snatch or the clean, this is what someone is going to look like before they go to get under the bar. So we really need to understand. You wonder why people have bad backs. I mean, when you think about it, when you get up out of a chair and you go to step and go to push on your foot to stand up, what position is your back in? It's in some form of flexion, right? You're not engaging your lordosis and then pushing against the floor. So every time you get up from a chair, you're putting a little bit of strain into that system just by pushing down on the floor with your foot through your glute. Maybe that adds up so that when we're 50, we turn our backs. I don't know. But I know that I'm thinking a little bit more now every time I stand up about just engaging a little bit back here, just to help dissipate some of the force and not let it get into the ligamentous and disc system. So think about that when you see your back patients getting up on a chair or on a bench. You might want to ask them to just think about that before they push on the floor. Because what happens, I find that the lumbar spine and the glutes are what I call a force couple, or they are connected. And if you fire on one, you better be firing the other, you're going to get hurt. Because it's the only thing that's going to counteract this spine from rounding when I go this way. Because our hip flexors, although if we fired them would help, they're not in a mechanical advantage to make anything happen at that point in the lift. So that doesn't count. Everybody follow that? Any questions on that? Okay. Let's go to the next one. Another silly term that I like to use is slot.